Greetings, Benjamin J from Ben's Trains with another in the series. Well, this is going to be the last video on running the layout on a 12-volt car battery. Now, a fully charged battery is about 12.8 volts. As you see, this one is down to 11.75 with no load on it. I've been running these trains for 3 days with a total of over 15 hours of runtime. Running probably 24 different locomotives of all make and model. Heavy ones, light ones, mechanical E-units, electronic E-units. Everything has worked absolutely splendidly. So I stopped the video last night running the 391 with 16 cars, 2 spotlight cars, and we had the controller set at approximately 3 o'clock. So we're going to see how it runs now. I've got the meter hooked up. 11.76 volts with no load. Let's take this around and see how it runs. All right, we're down to 11.38 with the locomotive running. As you see, I've got the controller back at the 3 o'clock position. So obviously it has dropped off, but remember, I've been running this 3 full days with over 15 total hours of running time. So there's still plenty of power left in this controller. As you see, there's full speed. So plenty of speed left. Turn it back down before it derails. So in any case, if you have this out on a display someplace, you could run the single consist at least 15 hours, we know that. So 1 full day. I would imagine even with the power left in this battery as it is now, I bet this will probably run another 5-6 hours, maybe longer than that. It will eventually run slower and slower and slower, of course. But I have not recharged this battery. This is the 3rd day that I've been running it, and it's running just absolutely splendidly. Now, what advantage do you have running a layout on a battery? The only logical advantage you have is that you can run your train when there's no power available. So if you were doing a display someplace and there was no power available, all you have to do is get a $10 controller and a car battery. You can run this thing. We know we can run it at least 1 full day. So it works. The experiment was a complete and total success. Total cost $10. I already had the battery, and I've not experienced any glitches of any kind. This has run just absolutely perfectly. As you see, it's still running absolutely perfectly off the same battery. So 11.34 volts when the locomotive is running, 11.7 when it's off. So there's still plenty of voltage left in that battery. Like I said, I'm sure I could run this for hours with just what's left in the battery now. As you see, it's running absolutely splendidly. No problems of any kind. So without a doubt, I've run a cumulative time with all the different locomotives over 15 hours. And that's starting and stopping, heavy loads, light loads, forward, reverse. It's worked with heavy locomotives, it's worked with light locomotives, mechanical E-units, and electronic E-units. Every single locomotive I put on this rail has run, and run actually quite well. It actually runs better on this battery than it does on the AC transformer. So as I said, the experiment was a complete and total success. It works really, really well. And I said that the only advantage you have of doing this is it gives you the chance to run your train when there's no power available. So if you're going to a show of some kind and there's no power available, or you don't want to pay for the power that they supply, you can simply take a battery with you, this $10 controller, and you can run a consist all day long with no problems at all. This works really, really well. This was a lot of fun. It was definitely worth the $10 to buy that controller just to do the experiment. I've had an absolute blast doing this. And as you see, it's effective, it's efficient, it works. It's run every locomotive I put on this rail with no problems of any kind. It works absolutely perfectly. So in any case, just a quick follow-up on this. So total hours of running the train is 15 and change, of course. And that's running two different kinds, or probably 24 different kinds of locomotives. Like I said, Lionel, Marx, heavy ones, light ones, testing E units, testing different consists, heavy ones, light ones. It's worked. I've had absolutely no glitches at all. As you see, this is running just absolutely perfectly. This is the third day of using this battery. And there's still plenty of power left in it. So you can see it's slowly dropping off as we run the train. But I would imagine this will run this probably the rest of the night, literally the rest of the night. Of course, it will eventually slow down and go slower and slower and slower. There's a lot of current left in that battery. I can turn this thing up so it virtually flies around this rail, even with what's remaining in the battery now. So no problems of any kind. It's definitely worth the $10. As I said, the only advantage it has is it gives you a chance to run your train when there is no power available. It was a lot of fun. It worked. It was an interesting experiment. It was inexpensive. I've had more than $10 worth of fun with that controller. So I'm really pleased with the results. So in any case, the last video of running the layout on a 12-volt car battery. So very likely tonight, tomorrow, I'll put the battery on the charger. Whether I'm going to run it more, I have no idea. What I'm very likely going to do is do a good wiring job on this controller and just put it aside someplace. That way I know, regardless of where I am, I can always run the train. Like I said, it opens a lot of possibilities for doing shows or displays of some kind where there is no power available. It works. It works really, really well. So I encourage everyone who wants to try it. The controller is $10. Pick up a car battery, get a remanufactured battery. Doesn't have to be one this big. You could use a motorcycle battery and it'll run it for hours. So in any case, just wanted to do a quick video running a Marx 391, 16 cars, 2 searchlight cars, running just absolutely perfectly. No problem at all. Third day running this battery without a recharge. And there's still plenty of power left in this. I'm sure I could run it another 4 or 5 days just doing stuff like this. You lighten the consist. Remember, this is pulling 16 10 litho cars. You lighten the load, you're going to increase the battery capacity for, who knows, another 4 or 5 hours, perhaps longer than that. But it works. It works absolutely perfectly. So I thought it was an interesting experiment. Bought the controller, hooked it up, wired it to the battery, wired it to the rail. This is the result. It is running just absolutely splendidly. It runs better on a car battery than it has ever run on the AC transformer. I have full control from very, very slow to very, very fast. And that controller was $10 with free shipping. Really difficult to beat that. So a fun experiment, and it worked. It worked absolutely perfectly. So it was a lot of fun doing it. Anyway, this will be the last video of running the layout on a car battery. But as you see, it was worth the time it took and the experiment. It was great. I had a lot of fun doing this, learned a lot. And like I said, I've never seen this done before. There was no one to ask. So a bit of empirical experimentation. It worked. A Marx 391, 16 cars, 2 searchlight cars running on a 12-volt car battery. And all because of this little $10 controller. So really difficult to beat that. I had a lot of fun doing this. So in any case, just a quick follow-up video. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.